we are good to go. So the party has just agreed to a meeting with the Count Tadranus Laurel. After an evening of cleaning up, refueling, resupplying, two of our heroes, Wolfrun and Zaiid Azar, are the only two here, the only two who have woken up. Perhaps the rest are sleeping in, although Zaiid was almost stabbed to death multiple times. He does seem very spry this morning. You can see Miri picking up a chair from like a rowdy event last night. It would seem at the bar is Lodwig Rosewood, who is nursing a bottle of no doubt apple juice. Next to him, both of you recognize the miller from that incident. Cinder is at his normal spot. There is also Stable Boy, and it's the morning crowd, everyone getting drunk, you know, like usual. Oh my god, this mini is ridiculous.
What the hell?
What the hell?
Looks like one of the old Ralph Partha like comedy minis they used to make.
You like this one better? It doesn't have a weapon though.
I'm kind of feeling Keg Hammer.
Okay, that's his name now.
Agilus Keg Hammer.
Alright. You see a few new people in the Horned Raven, a few new faces. There is the strumming of a lute distantly, but not paired with singing this morning.
Do we know how many days we have until the banquet?
Oh, he just invited you to his home to talk tomorrow. It would be later today, quote unquote.
I suppose we've probably like woken up from our rooms in the inn and like just come downstairs or something.
Yes, you have been put up upstairs.
Wolfrun would sleep outside.
So while you were outside, you noticed a little boy running east into the Ibindu forest last night.
So when I was told about the cannon, the real cannon, I have her name, just one second.
Morgan?
Yes, the Cannon Morgan. Was she in Gask or just seen near Gask?
He told you that she said she's going to be in the Gask area undercover, and that's how that whole arrangement was set up.
Gotcha. Morning, Wolfrun. I hope whatever establishments that they set you up with were adequate.
They were to my liking. How are you this day, Paladin?
I'm quite good. I had a very restful sleep, although I'm wondering if my old contact might be here for me to speak with before we get about the rest of our day. I will have some things I might like to discuss with you regarding especially your ranger abilities.
Very well. What does your contact look like?
He has a bit of the look of traditional Rudian well-to-do. The flattened hat, purple, white, and gray clothing, I believe.
I know that look. I don't see anyone here that fits that description.
Cinder kind of gives you guys a nod as you pass. There's someone who walks up behind Wolfrun as Zaiid wanders up towards the usually reserved side room. He's palming his hands nervously. Mel Silverfish, how are you? Hi, I was just wondering, I saw you guys with the weapons and shiny armor. I was wondering if you had any motions for you to get closer. I was wondering if you had any and then he lowers his voice to a whisper as Zaiid approaches. Any health potions? Yeah, I'm really sick. Yeah, I just really need health potions every day, twice a day, because I'm chronically sick. I would pay a lot of money.
Can Zaiid roll an insight?
You may roll an insight.
Do you need to?
Wow, this guy must be really sick. I'm somewhat of a healer myself. I know some field medicine as well as...
He cuts you off. I know, only health potions will do, the red kind. The way Siegfried makes them, I always get better instantly. So, yeah, I'm just wondering if you have any on you. I'd be willing to pay a lot. I'm a very wealthy fisherman.
I'm afraid I don't have any on me. What about you, Wolfrun?
I don't normally carry them.
Where is Siegfried, after all? Isn't he normally at his little stand?
He puts his hands on his hip and laughs like it's a totally normal conversation to have. I know, right? Like, I go to his stand every single day, but it's the one day he's not here. Really annoying, right? I talked to his advisor or his nephew or whatever, and they said that he wasn't in today, which never happens. So weird.
Wonder if he's alright.
He shrugs.
What's the name of this nephew, by the way?
I didn't ask. He waves his hand dismissively. I'm just really concerned for my illness, and I was as soon as I heard the bad news. Oh no, I hope he's not sick.
What illness do you have exactly?
Bone. I have small bones.
You look fine to me.
Well, you can't see my bones, can you? Look at my
Well,
teeth.
I mean, just by the size of you, you look like a normal-sized person, and if you had small bones, you wouldn't look like a normal-sized person, would you?
He gets defensive immediately. Are you saying I'm lying?
Why don't you try a Cinder just around the corner?
What? Cinder?
Yes, the individual in fine clothing and of a darker complexion.
No, he doesn't sell to just anyone, and besides, I'm not interested in magical items.
I shrug. I'm afraid the nearest potion seller that I'm aware of outside of Siegfried is several leagues away.
Fine. Okay. I'll just go over here. Hi, Mel Silverfish. I'm just.
What a weird man.
This is an interesting town you found yourself in.
I'll be honest with you, I don't really like it here.
What brought you to Avendrod in the first place?
I was tracking what I believe to be dark elves.
Is this to do with the black arrows and the mysterious crossbow?
Indeed.
What makes these dark elves such an interesting quarry to focus so much of your time on?
They focus their time on destroying the forest and nature around them once they ascend from their depths. And they also have a habit of taking slaves in the process. I see any evidence of them above ground, I do my best to try to find them and eliminate them.
Oh, you may have declined to roll with that ranger, but it sounds like you do your part to keep these woods safe. I must say, you are somewhat of a stalwart defender in your own way. I appreciate being in your company all the more.
I appreciate you saying so.
Would you mind accompanying me to meet with my contact, so that I may pass along what information I know?
Not at all. I'll admit, I normally would keep someone of, well, your position and origin at arm's length, but you are the one who pulled a knife from my back.
And with your help and the help of our other companions, if it were just me, I would have become skewered many more times over. Thank Rune for his intercession on our wounds.
Quite. Let's meet this contact.
Okay, so, your mysterious contact was, reaching for the apple in the pig's mouth when he freezes, hearing the sounds of footfalls coming up the stairs, and then turns around. Oh, hello there. Didn't expect to see you two around for quite some time. How are you?
We have some news. Things are extremely complicated.
Zaiid, are you going to introduce me to your friend?
Why, yes, this is Wolfrun. He is the ranger that I initially contracted within my retinue. And now he and the rest, save for Margarosh, the Red Orc, they are now free companions, just all with more or less the same goals in mind for the time being.
I bet you made a splash at your meeting with the Canon. My name is Edelboten. I'm an ambassador from Avendrad, but I mainly deal with the Sacri people. Speaking of which, Mr. Wolfrun, was it? I might need to acquire your services after Zaiid to find some sort of suitable escort back to the Thoranrai Valley. I'm due there any month now.
I know the way.
Could be fortuitous to bring you along when we eventually... Well, we still need to speak with the rest of our party, but there's a chance we might end up making our way towards Calm Hall.
Any luck securing the future of the good people I've come to call my friends?
I'm afraid the situation's become more layered than an onion inside a piñata inside of a gift-wrapped bag inside of an egg.
I love piñatas. Those
What's
things...
a pinata?
Well, they now exist.
In any case, Basil's, I suppose I would have said predecessor, but it turns out his current superior, Canon Morgan, is somewhere within the Gask region. I was hoping to set out an expedition of sorts at the Biendu if the rest of my party might have interest, or perhaps at least Wolfrun. It seems like he may have some business out there himself, solving a certain mystery regarding some unsavory elements that may be infiltrating the region.
Speaking of, have you ever seen an arrow like this? And I produced the black arrow.
Yes, I believe these are now being used by some bandits near the Faranrai Valley and Belmead.
Belmead. It's to the northeast, is it not?
Yes, I have the privilege of traveling with an honor guard usually, or at least some caravan followers or Rachnian spiders. But, last time I believe it was, we were attacked by bandits, of course. They were using these black-tipped arrows, thankfully not poisonous, but none of them hit us, so they clearly don't know how to use them. These bandits? Oh, yes. No. They attacked under the cover of darkness. Though they were human, don't worry.
Are you sure?
Quite positive. After the battle, they were rounded up. And these were not the only arrows among them. They seemed to be salvaged, or perhaps they bought them from somewhere.
Somebody supplied them to them.
Most likely.
Could be of much larger concern than I had initially thought if there are enough of their arrows going about to arm caravans of bandits, rather than just whatever bands of these slavers popping up from underground in order to gather their quarry.
It's unlike them to meddle in the affairs of, well, those of us who live on the surface. Something incredibly strange is going on. They usually just pop in, take what they want, burn all the rest, and leave.
Perhaps they're hoping that these bandits can do their dirty work for them and open up more opportunities in the chaos for them to strike.
Or they're looking at a more permanent incursion.
He chimes in, obliviously thinking that he knows what you're talking about. Their attacks have been getting more recent in years. I know that a force from Illithron was seen a few months ago to the north.
Is Illithron an enemy of Gorsad?
Yes, Illithron is like the most officially organized Arnos kingdom north of Foxburn and south of Albius.
Oh.
So they're like an island in a sea of barbarian lands.
Are they the ones attacking Calm Hall Castle?
It is unclear. This guy seems to think the Dark Elves you're talking about are barbarians, though.
I gathered that. I'm not going to correct him at the moment.
In any case, finding these sorts of munitions, remind me, are they poison tipped?
It depends. They don't, not as a rule, I'll put it that way.
I suppose they wouldn't be arrows. Were they bolts fitted into small crossbows or merely used in short bows?
The ones I've seen were only in short bows.
Perhaps they're only utilizing it themselves, but I'd hate to see it populated throughout either dissident or bandit ranks.
Sounds like the tool of an assassin.
Have there been any moderate or high-profile assassinations of late?
There was one large attempt against the Countess of Ankarok years ago, which has led to a conspiracy theory about a secret society of assassins and thieves, though no one knows where and what city.
Well, if there were to be one, Gorsad would be the perfect location for it. All the resources from the mainland coming in, while in the midst of the chaos of the border crisis.
He shrugs. Luckily, at least for now, I've not been a target of any assassinations. You'll know it when I am, though, no doubt.
Well, I certainly hope that we could fend off such an eventuality before it gets to that point. Were you aware of any potential bandit trails that may have been heading through the Ipiendu?
The Ipiendu? Hard to be a successful bandit company out there. Normally you go to the Ipiendu to hide or to disappear. I think there's one caravan company there, but Belmead's a long way off. I doubt they're using the Ipiendu for their fortifications, but I've never been a bandit before, Zaiid. I've only been a messenger.
The Ipiendu's dense enough, they could find hiding in it, but there's no particular cave system that I can think of.
Unless we wish to try our luck within the Ipiendu, given that there's already the matter of potential further connections with Coulter's vision portented involving more cultists out that way, as well as the location of the true cannon.
Did you say cultists?
Indeed, I'm afraid that there was quite the sect that was just about inciting riots within town, and
They didn't worship someone named Zorn, did they?
I don't know if I've ever heard that name before.
They were in service to the Temple of Elemental Evil. I do not believe there's a connection between that and Zorn.
The current king was trying to sort them out, but yes, some sort of false hero worship of Arcturus. It got out of hand, let's say.
Curious. Well, in any case, these individuals seemed more like to prey upon impressionable folk and take their fondness for Sylvanas and use it to turn them against both the town, Rune, and common decency, and bringing them into blatant practical demon worship.
Well, that would be bad. Sounds like the cult of Zorn all over again. But I'll send a message to one of my contacts in Ludo, see if they're up to anything. I know they're trying to foment some sort of rebellion or at least separation.
It seems that the messenger birds have come back into town, more or less. Perhaps you can send word back to Ferenrii as well, both involving these arrows and bandits as well as the cult situation. It seems like they might be opening up different sects in different areas.
Sure. Speaking of bandits, I might have to hire an unscrupulous contact of mine. The orcs have taken to training hawks and eagle hawks, hunting down messenger birds and shooting them down and sending their falcons to attack them.
I think we stick to the plan.
Which plan?
We head east.
Into the Beandu, see if we can find any bandits along the way?
Indeed.
Very well.
Any way I can help either of you?
Probably just sticking here until we return, then we'll see if we can head up north on our way to Calm Hall with the rest of our party, and we'll bring you along if so.
Just do me a favor and don't tell anybody I was here asking about that bolt.
Very well. Well, I will be here for a few more days yet. There is another person here named Makvala Arkurus. If I don't go with you, I will go with him, with whatever guard he finds for his caravan.
Will your path take you up through this New Vidis, or will it take you around through Belmead, or even up around the Black Mountains?
Likely New Vidis, though you should know that Ferenrii and Gorosad does not recognize New Vidis. It is in clear violation of the treaties we've made regarding a people's territory.
Indeed, this is only one of few whispers I've heard of it. They've done well to keep themselves in low profile, I assume. Although they must be making enough of a name for themselves to attract caravans. Clearly they must have weeded out much of the overrun of Ophidian Hills.
Towns don't pop up randomly.
Be well for now, and Rune keep you.
I shall eat an entire pig.
Oh my gosh, look away.
That's impressive. I can.
Wolfrun, was there any other contacts you wish to speak to in town, or anything else you wish to search about? Maybe get some provisions before we head out on our excursion?
No, I think I have enough food.
Is there anything else you guys wish to do before you leave? Oh, hello there. Welcome back. Good to see you all in one piece. One moment. Let me just get my friend here a new tankard of ale. That's right, laddie. You best get me a new tankard of ale. You best do it right quick.
I asked the dwarf in Dwarvish if the ale's any good.
What in the... You laddies speaking the old tongue. Oh, I see. You've been around Everdark, have you?
I can't say that I have, but I know that my family has always appreciated the assistance of your kind in the craftsmanship of many a fine hall. Ferenrii wouldn't be half the gem it is without the assistance of the many dwarves that have lent their hammers to our cause.
Word is I hear it around town the Sacrai are the chickens of the Gorusad god.
We may be the favored chickens of Rune, though at least it allows us to squawk up in the morning. Perhaps one with the stature of a stool ought not provoke those that may drop their leavings so high above them.
You come down here and say that to me face, you too tall, too feathered, too...
I'm gonna lean down and put my beak, which is very, very sharp, very close to his face.
He leers back.
Critical failure on Intimidate.
He stares you down.
Are we gonna do this or not?
You Sacrai are a strange folk, as well as you have looks.
How could you tell that?
I seen a few half-lock around Everdark.
Could you keep it down a little bit? I don't want other people to know.
He seems confused, but hushes his voice. What's the big secret?
Well, how do you think people would react if they knew a half-lock was here, this far north?
Buddy, you had no idea, do you? They're half-locks and there's
Go ahead.
more of you up here than you might know.
Have you yet to see any?
That's because they cannot go above ground. We have an understanding in Everdark.
The Everdark, is that...
Roll history. And he looks at Zaiid suspiciously.
Oh my god.
You've never heard of Everdark?
Is this some sort of cave system?
Mayhaps I might be talking a bit more loosely, without certain ears and eyes about. Although you're a human god worshipper, Birdman.
He was our god just the same as he was anyone else's.
He not too bad. No different than Oradin. He's for truth and justice and good things. Aye. The people here worship him for an excuse to do bad things to good people.
I hope to do something about that.
So wait, who did your people worship before?
Oh, what you mean? We always been mostly about Oradin, but...
Not you, dwarf.
Oh.
We were created in Rune's image. We've been worshipping Rune since the dawn of creation.
As you say.
Does my plumage say any otherwise? And the crest feathers on my head kind of splay outwards?
I do not doubt your belief.
My, that's why they joined Runia. Anyway, well, I suppose you're right. I'll not get my nose too deep in your business, I suppose.
If you end up making your way into the Everdark, stop by in Eastern Ferenria and maybe I'll run into you.
Oh, sure, why not? If you need an extra blade or a hammer, I'm your dwarf.
Would your hammer be made of wood, such as the one you carry?
Aye?
Is that thing full, is what I'm getting at here?
What? Full? Are you daft? It's only made to look like a barrel. They call me... Agilus Keghammer.
Agnes?
Agilus, actually, thank you very much.
Keghammer.
Aye, that's what they call me. Got my name in a bar fight. I'm a legend in Everdark.
I'll bet.
What brings you out this far into Avendrad?
So many ears about here.
Well, maybe we can meet outside of town sometime later.
We're heading east to the woods.
Out into the Apindu.
That's high need territory.
Who?
Zaiid looks down at his long legs, kind of not thinking about it.
What you got business doing over there for?
Attempting to track down bandits.
Among other things.
Oh, you give me a share of your loot. If looting's your business, and I'm your man.
I have no problem with that. I don't really care for loot that much anyway.
Can you handle yourself in a scramble?
You don't call me Agilus Keghammer for nothing.
He has a point.
Fair enough.
You don't get a name like that without, being able to back it up.
Well, I think we have the provisions we need before we go, unless we want to stop by a certain tailor and make sure he's not handing out more clothing to cultists.
Or, running his damn mouth.
We don't have a certain red woman with us to beat him over the head for that.
Fair point. Maybe we should skip that until we do.
Fair enough. Shall we to the Apindu?
Let's.
To the Apindu! They built a town north of here?
Seems ill-advised, but men have done much more foolish things.
I got swamp in me swamp.
Suck it up.
I'd offer to have you on my shoulders, but I don't know if I could carry you.
Let's take a look at this house to see if it has any signs of recent occupation. These brambles are hard to cross.
Oh, my feet are getting stuck.
Well, we can set up camp and fall back here if we need to.
Wise decision.
Do you knock?
No.
You guys wish to do anything else in that house, or continue looking on?
I guess we're continuing on.
Wouldn't it be best to have the finesman be the leader?
Are you referring to me?
Hey, you're the ranger, aren't you? The wildman?
Last I checked.
What make of you of that wildfire? To the left. It's an omen of Gar.
Or it could be man-made. Let's investigate.
Zaiid and Agilis are stuck in quicksand.
Oh, son of a... I pull out my hempen rope. Here.
Okay.
Don't struggle.
I'm gonna roll a d4, and at the end of this d4 is when they die.
Wouldn't it be +1 for me for height?
Yes. So you have 5 actions before you die permanently.
Don't struggle. Just grab the rope.
We'll grab the beginning of the rope and then toss the other end of it.
That's 2 actions, are you sure?
I want our dwarf to be able to get out too.
Oh, hell's tentacles have me legs! He desperately tries to grab at the rope.
I'm going to try to pull them out.
Wait! Me cask! He rolls his keg over to Zaiid.
Really?
Save the ale!
You don't need it.
I'm not gonna make it, laddie.
You're going to make it. Grab the other end of the rope.
I'm not... Alright. He grabs the other end of the rope.
I'm going to attempt to pull them out.
You pull Zaiid out.
And then I'll assist on the rope pull.
Come on, Keg Hammer.
I'm not gonna make it! Shit! Something's caught. It's do or die.
You want to help me out here?
I do a dex roll to try and untangle the rope.
It seems untangled for now, although he's neck deep.
Grab a portion of this rope and let's both tug and see if we can't get it.
The entrance passphrase to Everdark is...
How do you spell that?
Okay, I'll be like, alright, you help me pull.
Okay.
The combined effort barely manages to get Agilis out of the muck. He gestures for Wolfrun to come closer. Closer, laddie.
If I got any closer, I'd be inside your nose.
Did you save the ale?
Think it just floated out there.
He pretends to die.
Is it close enough for me to use the grappling hook on?
It's right there, yeah. You just pick it up.
Okay, pick it
He's
up.
being dramatic.
Plop it back on its back.
It's just ale.
Me life force. I mean, me ale.
Alright, so moving forward, stick to the stones.
Aye, all manner of land in this damn valley has been strange of late. What make of you of this wildfire?
Should I roll athleticism to hop across, or...
Yeah, you make it look easy. This is no natural fire. Something has been set here by a wizard, witch, or warlock.
Ah. It's definitely magic in nature.
How can you
Perhaps
tell?
it just has the signs of it. It was created by somebody or something with knowledge of the arcane arts.
But to what end? Are there any glyphs around its base?
Not that I can discern.
I can't say for certain what the origin of this is. As far as I know, this could be some kind of warding flame to keep away cursed spirits in the area. Or it may be drawing them here.
Or containing them. We should continue on.
Well, Master Tracker, I think we're going to leave the pathfinding in your hands.
I'm going to burn a spell slot, because this is going to bite me in the ass later, but whatever. I'm going to use Primeval Awareness. Beginning at 3rd level, you can use your action to expend 1 ranger spell slot to focus your awareness on the region around you. For 1 minute per level of the spell slot you expend, you can sense whether the following types of creature are present within 1 mile of you, or within up to 6 miles if you are in your favored terrain. Aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fae, fiends, and undead. There's a cave to the south. I can sense life. Perhaps they know something about this fire. In fact, if I can kind of make it out, I think I see an outcropping of rock.
You see through the bushes of the trees in front of you, the mouth of a cave, and barely the kind of lounging figure of a human or humanoid resting across a rock in a relaxed fashion, wearing greens and purples, talking to someone. He and they don't seem to see you yet or hear you.
Let's see. I'm going to use stealth. I'm going to continue to move forward until I can try to make out what they're saying. I've motioned for those two to stay behind me.
Whoever you were listening to stands up and speaks to someone into the cave. You can hear him saying something to the effect of, "But if we were to render any assurances to this man, then we would surely cut ourselves off from the other temples. It is an unwise move. I know anything that could be done to extend the length of our tradition must be understood, but listen to me. Things are getting out of hand and out of control. I can't even pass these nectars of ambrosia to our nobility. There's no one we control, no one we can influence. Even this temple of elemental evil is getting more control than we ever could. I think it is time that we listen to this Dark One's offer, elf though he may be. And if that means moving north, then so be it." You hear a response that you can't make out in a deeper, more guttural voice, like, he says, "Pure blood, use that term sparingly. I do more for this movement than any have in many years. We might be one of the last in all of Gorusad, but it does not have to be that way. We might have to act pragmatically, you understand. Blah, 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 blah."
Right. Going to move closer, try to get above the cave. Wolfrun moves almost as though he's moving with the patterns of the earth. Wolfrun's player can't find where he put his mini,
That's how hidden you are.
blending in with the surroundings as though he is part of the surroundings.
All right.
Wolfrun, have you seen Sigrid Chronister before?
I don't know if I have or not.
This man looks like a strange eccentric. His features seem Gorusadian, as in brown hair, pale skin, green eyes. He is wearing fine silk clothing and is speaking into the cave like he has an audience of multiple people.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say I can't see who was in the cave from this vantage point.
You could try to risk it, but you'd be doing some freaking acrobatics.
Well, let's see.
You'd be like doing Mission Impossible shit. If you fail, you would drop on top of him.
That might be a risk I'm willing to take right now.
Alright.
He'll cushion your fall.
Fuck.
You
No way.
fall.
And swing myself down to the point where I'm upside down, and just as I get my foot wedged into a ledge that I feel like I could probably suspend myself, I slip.
Wham! You hit the ground. Zaiid, you hear a gasp behind you, and Wolfrun, Siegfried turns around, and you hear like the most deep hissing and rattling you've ever heard in your life. What the?
I'm going to rush over if I can.
Who dares enter our sanctum?
I'm a lost half-lock. I thought maybe that some of my people would be here.
Siegfried looks at you in a confused way when you mention a name he does not understand. Come inside here, we should have a discussion. He says, though trying to be smooth and convincing, he comes off as authoritative and aggressive.
I'm just trying to make my way through. I'm not looking for any immediate trouble.
Zaiid, do you approach to his rescue or stay behind and watch?
I mean, presumably he heard snake noises, but he's obviously never heard an actual serpent man before.
Correct. You could let this play out.
I'll do a stealth roll to try and move closer.
So Siegfried invites Wolfrun into the cave. Now, I don't know if you've been to the zoo before, but have you ever been to the reptile exhibit?
I actually worked in a reptile room in high school,
Oh my god. Well, there you go.
so I know exactly what this fucking smells like.
So, you are surrounded by monstrosities that resemble reptiles and serpents. My name is Siegfried Chronister. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with?
Am I close enough to hear?
You are. Did you
Okay.
signal for Keghammer to follow you?
I'm giving him like a hand, like, stay.
Yeah.
I'm Wolfrun Haig, a ranger of the forest to the south. Never seen anything quite like this before.
Roll wisdom. He crosses his eyes, and suddenly his words take on a deeper, truer meaning to you. Everything he says has a certain weight to it. It's like meeting an old mentor. He uncrosses his eyes, and a second pair of eyelids blink behind his first one, and he says, I am glad to meet you, Wolfrun, a noble name of the old world. My compatriots and I are arbiters of the old world. We likely want the same things, a restoration of what came before. I believe we could help each other.
Perhaps. Who is it that you are dealing with? I heard, if you'll forgive me, something about a temple?
We are investigating the Temple of Elemental Evil, a vile, wretched source of corruptive power that we seek to end forever.
Seems maybe our paths do meet.
No doubt. May I offer you some refreshments? Roll wisdom. It is very tempting to take his offer of the green fluid.
I'm going to go ahead and take a little sip.
There is no effect on you. He grins wickedly. Good. Now I assume we see eye to eye.
Yes we do.
Perfect. I represent an old order of men you might be familiar with. Though this Temple of Elemental Evil seeks the true past of Gorosad, we are its inhabitants, truly. We are what survived the Demon War, and it's only through our discipline that we will continue to do so. Those who rejected the ways of the demon, those who did not hide underground, we are the rightful rulers of Gorosad. I would offer you this rare chance to join as a prince of our kingdom. You could help us, and one day, when we slither over the crowns and the corpses of kings of Gorosad, you will be beside me, and you will thank me.
Tempting, but I'm not much of a joiner.
That's a shame, but I've heard this answer before. No matter, perhaps we can still help each other in other ways. These swamps are our only theater of operation, since we are so hated and reviled by the men who are born to serve us. First is the matter of this elemental evil temple. Can't we agree that we are more the same than different in this matter, Wolfrun Haig?
That is certain.
Speaking of Haig, there is a half-hag in the town of Gask that might be worth knowing. Your last name could throw him off balance. He could be a profitable recruit to my order. We were just discussing the matter of allegiances, actually. I would know more about you first before I truly accept you into our kind. There are rituals we must understand and observe.
Understood. Half-hag, do you know from whence he comes?
I do not. We've scoured this swamp for hags, but we are the true authority in these swamps now. Even those cultists who claim to be part of some sort of temple do not understand the way of the forest as we do, the rightful heirs of this place.
Are there cultists in this forest?
Oh yes. Their temple is to the east of here.
Good to know.
We are attempting to make contact with a tribe of lizardlings to join us, though... Yes, we have heard whisperings of an allegiance of orcs and goblins and giants who bow to a black elf to the north. Yes, it would seem that other clans of, well, they call us serpent folk, have joined the alliance of an influential dark elf, as they say, if you believe such things.
These dark elves are not unknown to me.
Oh, are you a representative of theirs?
No, I just, by nature and profession, sometimes occupy the same spaces that they do.
I see. What could you tell me of this? We are weighing our options now.
I can tell you, if you do not like the works of the Temple of Elemental Evil, you will not like becoming under the service of the Dark Elves either.
But the Dark Elves could open the door of Hesh for us. Speak not of the door of Hesh to a stranger. I am sorry, he speaks without knowing what... Silence, pure blood. Hesh's name is Truth. What know you of this, Hathlock?
I know of no Hesh.
You see, there is no issue. He's like, that is neither here nor there. Please trust me. This is something internal. Have you heard of the Sage Arm Relic? Zaiid, Arm Relic is the guy who wrote the book he's tried to sell you. It's also the guy who trained Cinder.
I knew that was Serpent Man propaganda.
Well, Arm Relic is a wise man. He's trying his best to align the various cells of Serpent Men still left alive after the horrible genocide brought onto us by those devious, fiendish Rei. Cursed be their names. If you make contact with any lizardlings in the area, or perhaps any followers of Amruga or Mar, we would pay you as a stipend in order for us to recruit them and make contact with them.
So if I find any, bring them to you.
I would pay you handsomely. How does 500 gold sound?
That does sound handsome.
Thank you very much. I would also pay for the secrecy, of course, on top of that. And I would ask you, you said you are a ranger. I understand that's some sort of a name for an explorer, a man of the lands. What do you get a sense for the people and the monster men, the beast men of the land? How would they respond to us joining this Dark Elf?
Well, from what I can see, you're not too different from any of the beastmen of the land anyway. I don't think they'd have too much of an objection to it. The only thing is they don't trust outsiders readily. You would have to do something to prove your loyalty, would be my guess.
Just so. I've been telling you this. This is how humans operate. I was human once. Do not think I could forget a lifespan of 500 years. Of course not, sire. Forgive me. Only this once. My name is not Kiresh the Forgiver, after all. No, it is not. Well...
As I said, I would be, not much of a joiner, but I would be happy to aid if I can.
Then allow me to aid you. The Temple of Elemental Evil we have discovered is broken up into 4 sects. We do not know why. They are split in appearance by each element, and there is some sort of inner schism that perpetuates some sort of strife between each group. That is all I can offer you, but I would hand you a handsome reward if you could facilitate the end to this temple. Furthermore, I would double it if you could help us in our final decision, whether we wish to remain hidden once and for all, or join this Dark Elf who could bring the Who could bring the rise of Hesh. Where am I? I'm in the ceiling. Oh, come down here. I'm sorry. I'm not used to my snake form yet. Let me grab your tail. Let me help, sire. No, I can do it on my own.
It had been 500 years.
500 years in snake form is a short blink in the span of eons. Human.
That's profound, but doesn't make any sense.
Neither does anything else I've been saying.
Fair.
Will you help them? Do you think they should join this Dark Elf like all the other? And he lists like those giants in quote-unquote Femoria for history. Femoria is the beastmen term for any place in Arnos, south of Albius and north of the Lothlands. So, like, the Lithlands are Femoria.
Okay, so we're in Femoria more or less at the moment.
Like any region ruled by giants or Fomorians or ogres.
Okay. From what I know of the Dark Elves, I'm not 100% certain it would be to your benefit and to your aims to ally with them, even if you do, in your powers, have the ability to eventually turn on them or use them for your own gain.
It would seem that the Dark Elves and our goals are the same. This releasing of Hesh is our eventual goal at any rate.
If I can be candid for a moment, I'm not entirely sure the Dark Elves are acting on their own either.
Are you certain? Who else could they be serving?
There are beings far more powerful and far more dark than these elves that sometimes travel in similar circles. and they're far more organized and manipulative than the Dark Elves themselves. In my experience, the Dark Elves only really come to the surface to raid and then leave.
Indeed. So, in theory, we could be the arbiters of the peninsula and stave off invasions from Runia and Menares. It would be like old times before the Demon Wars.
Perhaps, but I have to think there's something greater at play here.
There may be, but that is conjecture at this point, unless you could, I don't know, offer some sort of information.
If I had any, I would offer it. That's part of what I'm trying to discover.
Then would you work for us in eliminating this temple of elemental evil?
I would be more than happy to attempt to.
Very good.
This pleases us. I am Sarak. You will serve me now.
He moves aside to let Sarak speak.
Wolfrun Haig. Kneel.
I look behind me, and I kind of make a chicken noise.
Sarak squints suspiciously.
So I'm going to throw a rock into, like, right here, so it rains down rubble, and then wave my banner over at Mr. Cakehammer.
You toss the rock, and it sails somewhere into the swamp. Then you wave your banner.
My leg! What was that? Intruders. Now is the time to prove yourself. Kill these interlopers, Wolfrun.
Yeah, at once.
Siegfried smiles at you. See, I told you they could be resilient. Alright, Wolfrun comes out from the cave's entrance.
So I'm gonna beckon towards Wolfrun and just whisper to him, "Let's make some noise and make it sound good. And then you tell them to come check on our corpses."
I give a thumbs up.
Die, foul cultist!
Taste the strength of my steel, Birdman!
How could you disgusting lock folk come to these areas?
You will kneel before the Serpent Men!
How could you? Rune, save your soul!
Rune has no power here!
They're buying it.
Zaiid's going to play dead, basically, and then wait for Wolfrun to tell them to come look that he killed a Sacrii.
That sounds like a solid plan to me. I give Zaiid a wink.
Siegfried Chronister exits the mouth of the cave.
I've killed some sort of Birdman.
Birdman? Could it be? Show me.
Right this way.
Ah, yes, I've seen this one before. Pity, he could have made an interesting convert. There are those in the Faranrai Valley our sources have touched. It is only a matter of time before we have a new faction within their ranks. And we could keep his corpse to experiment on. What are your thoughts?
Any information we can get about this species would be beneficial to us.
Very well, bring him inside.
I pick him up. Should I roll strength? He doesn't weigh anything.
You pick him up. Siegfried seems completely convinced of the fact that you are telling the truth. He saw you drink the ambrosia.
A Sacrii,
Says Sarak.
good. And one high standing.
Says another.
Yes, he seems to be some sort of knight.
Feed him the ambrosia.
At once. And he attempts to forcibly feed the ambrosia to Zaiid.
Zaiid grabs his rapier and stabs him. So when he reaches down to kind of lift my head to pour the ambrosia in, I just grip onto the rapier that I'd been holding by my side, kind of dip it under my shield, and then up into his ribcage.
He appears to be a man who's never been even scratched before. The vial he held in his left hand drops to the floor and shatters. The wind stolen from his body as it leaves in the form of red, viscous fluid cascading down his silken robes in bloody rivulets. You can't. He staggers, holding his hand to brace himself against one of the rock walls.
Fool, he is one of the last of our kind. You'll die for this transgression.
Cakehammer's like, can I come now?
I flagged for him to come, but he tripped.
Oh yeah, that's right. And he said, I... The hood of the snake abomination before you flares wide, as if flexing an upper pair of arms.
fool. You could have ruled a new world with us, but now I will enjoy swallowing you.
It is Siegfried's turn. He tries to run away.
All right, Wolfrun. Do you think you can hold them long enough for me to get to Siegfried?
I can certainly try.
Okay, cool. I'm going to cut off Siegfried.
Alright, you easily catch up with Siegfried, and he's leaning against the rock wall, panting heavily.
Mercy, mercy, please, I beg of you.
I'm going to do a religion check and see WWRD.
What would Rune do? He'd probably kick an ass or two.
He's not the god of mercy.
That is fair. All right.
He's the god of justice, protection, and righteous glory.
Courts aren't necessarily any more righteous than delivering justice here and now. So it's time to cut him down. Rune will not abide your kind's resurgence.
He lays dead before you. More blood than seemed could be produced from such a small frame. One step closer to the eradication of your hereditary enemy.
Do I see the dwarf anywhere?
He is still in the same place.
I'll shout over at him and wave my banner around and be like, Keg Hammer! Help! Serpent Men!
Oh!
Agilus Keghammer emerges from the forest line, looking muddy but willing to aid you in battle.
Just show me where the lizardlings are, and I'll kill them.
Meanwhile, in the cave, a serpent man takes aim with his bow at Wolfrun. He deals 7 piercing damage as an arrow splits into your side. The one in the middle, Serac, coils just in time to make room for the arrow. After the maneuver, coiling, his scimitar comes down at you full force.
You could have inherited an entire empire.
Bleeding out pretty bad now. I'm going to use athletics to try to put some distance between myself and the snake men.
You were brilliant in there.
I tried to hold them off as long as I could, but they're too powerful for just me. Get in there and melee them. I'm going to stand back with my crossbow and do my crossbow thing.
Okay, perfect.
I could offer you infinity. You could become a dragon knight. Dare you shirk your destiny, Zachary?
Dragons belong in the ground as much as your kind. So Zaiid rushes into the cave mouth and flashes his shield up high, shining light beaming into the face of the serpent man. Rune is more than enough for me. I will not need your petty promises, creature of darkness and ground. All right, and then I bring about my rapier.
You die.
Damn it!
So your sword, it cut through his scimitar, the clang on the ground of its tip giving your enemy pause, enough to drive your sword through its sword and armor, slashing deeply.
As my blade is embedded for a fleeting moment, I close my eyes and call upon Rune to imbue extra energy within the blade to purify this foul creature.
No! The presence of Rune, it's here! Scatter, my lizardlings! I cannot will myself to retreat, Serac.
I pull out my crossbow, draw back, and fire, hitting him directly in the neck.
He collapses, a wriggling mass of tendrils and meat and scales and green limbs. Then he lay limp, dead.
I'm here, lad. What the devil's happening here?
The Serpent Men! They're back from legend!
What do you want me to do, lad?
Get the one to my left.
Wolfrun, you alright?
I'm wounded, but I'll live. You should make moves around to the right. There's one trying to get away from another entrance.
I come! I surrender.
It feels wrong to kill creatures that are surrendering, but they are basically my Satan.
He throws down his weapons. All right, your enemy has surrendered. The only one who survives.
All right, I'll keep looking at her, but point my rapier over to him and tell him to tell her to drop her bow and her arrows now and place her hands up where I can see them. Or in 6 seconds, she dies.
I'm gonna keep my crossbow trained on her. Hold your ground, Keghammer.
Aye, lad, I'll make sure no one comes across us.
Okay, I instruct the male to come in closer so I can bind their hands together.
What do you wish to accomplish, Zachary?
I will be bringing you to Rune's justice. If you prove useful, perhaps my people will let you live. I will leave that in their hands.
You must formulate some sort of deal with me here and now. In the Faranrii Valley, I will be killed outright. Perhaps even before then.
What were you and Siegfried's plans here? What was your ultimate goal with the ambrosia?
The fluid he peddled makes those addled and weak in the mind to make them more agreeable to our terms, such as the nobles who live in your stone walls.
Why would he want the death of the nobles? He gave a vial of poison to one of my companions.
It is not poison. It makes them more agreeable.
The green liquid?
Yes.
I see. So I point to the corpse and then to Siegfried. I ask where in the hierarchy the dead one laid regarding the Serpent Men as a whole, and then A, how many more like Siegfried are there that can blend in with human society, and B, just A.
I assume you understand the events of the Demon Wars.
Picking up from what Siegfried said, the humans of the region that survived, A, either went underground and became the Morlocks, or B, stayed above ground and became the Serpent Men, if I'm gathering things.
It was our discipline created our way. That was how we avoided the temptations of demons. That is how we avoided the temptations of Zorn.
He gives you a speech about self-discipline and the fact that the old, weaker civilization that came before was kind of left open to the influences of demons in the abyss, and that only through the very specific ways of like outer gods and outer powers could humans possibly defend against demonic and fiendish influence.
So you bend these powers to your will.
We recognize the truth, and those exemplars within our ranks reflect these truths within our physiology, as you can see.
And he flecks triumphantly, flaring his snake-like hood.
I've seen better.
You cannot understand, Zachary. I am not some new recruit to your faith, but I do value my own life and my race. I would protect those who would perhaps perpetuate it. Name your price and I am your prisoner, though I will not go back to any town with you.
How am I to know we're not being led into an ambush?
You are wise to mistrust me.
I can't allow you to continue your teachings. Unless you make an effort to change your ways, then I can't allow you to leave.
I will consider your words. If you do one thing for us.
Speak your request.
Go into the heart of this jungle. End the power of elemental evil. Find for us the gem of renewing. If you give it to me, and the price is what you say, I would have an offer to regenerate. A chance. If not for me, then for my Kerala. No, don't do it. Meh, 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 meh. No, Kerala. Blah, blah, blah. No, 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 no. Promise me that, Zachary, and then maybe you'll believe that we have a heart.
If this is your price, then it is one I will consider paying. We were already going to rid this corruption of this temple.
Indeed.
What is it you would ask of us in return? But the atonement ritual would kill us. Not with the stone. You would be safe. I would be damned to hell.
It sounds like you can have a chance at his life or none. I'm not so sure Rune would dispatch him so easily, but perhaps if he knows his own soul, then maybe he's already resigned himself.
Rune has not struck me down yet, Zachary. I present to you and your friends a third option. Let us go. We have given you information enough to aid you. Perhaps, in some future encounter, we might be able to repay you back.
You unfortunately speak from a position of weakness. As we speak, legions of my kind pour over your old ruins.
Murderers.
I tell you this, wait here for 2 days. If we do not return, you are free.
If this is what we must do, then this is what we must do.